This is the NBC Radio Network.
I'm about to put on a long plain glass of Saratoga Vichy. Listen. Saratoga Vichy gets its carbonation from nature, the same place it gets its singular taste. I can't imagine how nature goes about carbonating it. The whole process takes place in some rocky enclave deep below the earth. At any rate, when it comes above ground, Saratoga Vichy has a quite unique kind of carbonation. Subdued, but persistent. It keeps a drink perking merrily far longer than any man-made carbonation. It also keeps a drink fresh tasting. But you'd have to try it to understand what that means. In fact, if you'd really like to unravel the secret of Saratoga Vichy's appeal, there's only one thing to do. Pour yourself a glass and get to the bottom of it. Saratoga, the authentic Vichy behind the yellow label.
This is WGY, 810 on your radio dial, and WGFM, Schenectady.
Everybody, and a very pleasant day to you wherever you may be. This is Ben Scully, along with Bob Prince, welcoming you to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, and the 1966 World Series. Brought to you by
Chrysler Corporation, makers of Chrysler Plymouth. By the world's best-selling deodorant, Gillette Right Guard. Camel Filters, the filter cigarette that was born rich. And by Carling Black Label. Why not enjoy one right now?
Well, it's like an echo of the first game. The starting pitchers, Dave McNally and Don Drysdale, the 6 umpires meeting at home plate, and the exchange of lineup cards between Captain Maury Wills of the Dodgers and the manager, Hank Bauer of the Baltimore Orioles. For the Dodgers, 3 down and 1 to go, only the wrong way. And for Baltimore, the day they are hoping for is here. Dave McNally, loosening up to Charlie Lau off to the left, had a bad start, you remember, as he was very wild at Dodger Stadium, worked only 2 1/3 innings, walked 5 men, gave up 2 runs, and had to come out. However, McNally's performance, as it lackluster, was suddenly turned into a bright day for Baltimore with a tremendous performance by Mo Drabowski, who, although he was not ready for the last 2 games, is now ready today, if needed, to pick up for McNally. For the Dodgers, a do-or-die effort by Don Drysdale. Drysdale, you remember, in his first inning of World Series competition against Baltimore, gave up a walk to Russ Snyder and back-to-back home runs by Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson. Drysdale has had many an effort spoiled this year because of home runs, and the home run, the World Series, and the name Drysdale have gone together for this reason. Drysdale has allowed 7 home runs in World Series competition. The record is 8. And the first man to hit a home run against Don Drysdale in the World Series, Hank Bauer, the manager of the Baltimore Orioles. Drysdale, of course, well aware of the pressure that is on his shoulders, but he had to pitch some very big games at the end of the 1966 season and won all of them. And for the first time in a big one did he lose, and that was the game in the World Series. The weatherman has come up with a beautiful day. Another bright, sunshiny afternoon in Baltimore, and another capacity crowd. The crowds for the series, we had 55,941 for the first game, 55,947 for the second. Yesterday, the largest crowd ever to see a baseball game in Baltimore, 54,445, and a crowd somewhere around that to see this one today. If the series is prolonged, if the Dodgers can win today, why, they'll be after each other again tomorrow. If not, the 1966 baseball season will be brought to a close. The Dodgers had to win some pretty big ball games, and most of them were played at home. And Bob Prince, you were with the Pittsburgh Pirates when they came to Dodger Stadium in a must series, and the Dodgers won the first 3. And I can imagine that the Pirates felt that it was a rather tough club under pressure.
Yes, and they have often remarked, and manager Harry Walker, who was in town covering the series, Ben, is making the statement, I don't understand their play in the first 3 games against Baltimore. They never played that way against us. us. The Dodgers got more mileage out of blue pits, walks, infield singles, bunts, running bunts than anybody we ever saw. That is from the Pittsburgh Pirates side. So those of the National League who have contested with the Dodgers know full well that while they are down, they are far from out. And I would feel the thinking on the part of the Dodgers is now that Big D, as he's known, must come on to keep them in the series and then expect that tomorrow Mr. Koufax will hum up another great one, which has been the story of this Dodger ball club. So a lot goes today on this one, no question about it.
For Don Drysdale, who would be in excellent shape, despite the fact he was under 500 during the regular season, Drysdale, a fastball pitcher, but not the fastball pitcher of yore. He does not intimidate hitters as he did 10 years ago, 8 years ago, even as late as 2 years ago. Don, prior to this World Series, averaged a strikeout an inning. That is not the Drysdale that we saw in the first game of the series, and it does not figure to be the Drysdale that we will see today. In one of Don's more important starts against the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis, in fact, it was his next to the last start of the regular season, he went 9 strong innings and struck out but 1. And that more or less has been the difference in Drysdale this year than in years gone by. He is not up there among the strikeout leaders. Oddly enough, the Baltimore Oriole pitching staff, which if not underrated was certainly overshadowed by the Baltimore power, has been piling up the strikeouts. If you care for any stats at all, the composite on the series, 21 Dodgers have been left on base. The Orioles have left 16. The Orioles have been able to hit with men on. The Dodgers have left them there. And of course, there have been a couple of big plays in the series. Bob, despite the fact it has been all Baltimore, just going back to McNally's first game, remember the second inning with runners at first and second and the pitch that hit Rosebaro's bat. That might very well have been one of the big plays of the series.
No question about that. And also, in addition to that, as I recall and look back on it, Lefevre had homered, and then Parker had doubled into the gap, and Gilliam drew a base on balls. Then right after, McNally hit Rosebaro's bat, which would have been without question a wild pitch on ball 3. Parker would have scored. Gilliam would have gone conceivably to second, maybe to third. Roseboro then hit a line drive into right center field in which young Snyder made a fantastic play. And right there, perhaps, was the very turning point of this World Series, because there's no question but what the Dodgers would have been back in the ball game and with a big vengeance. And yesterday, they have the misfortune to see the bouncing ball hit by Parker again, go over the right center fence, and holding to a book rule double instead of the triple, and the next fly ball sent out by Willie Davis would have given him the run. So it looks as though the breaks that the Dodgers have been looking for and got sometimes throughout the season and took advantage of it have not come their way thus far in this series.
We only bring up these so-called breaks, and you can put quotes around them to illustrate the fact that despite it is an overwhelming Baltimore series, they have won all 3 games. Yet there have been a couple of plays whereby, had they gone the other way, why the Dodgers might very well have won 1 or maybe even 2 of the 3. So they go into the 4th game with Baltimore's Dave McNally loosening up. Dave going 2 1/3 innings in his first venture, and Don Drysdale, who went only 2 innings his first time out and was charged, of course, with the back-to-back home runs and 4 runs. In the background, the Dodgers starting lineup being introduced to the crowd. Neither club has made any changes. That is to say, Hank Bauer goes with the ball club that he has used all year against right-handers, and in this instance, that means Russ Snyder in center field. And for the Dodgers, they're going with the same lineup that they have used all year against left-handers, with the exception of John Kennedy at third base. The roar in the background for the Baltimore Orioles as they are being introduced, as the Dodgers have already lined up in their road gray from first base towards home plate. And the manager and one of the great fellows in the game, Hank Bauer, trotting out to third base, and from there on the Birds will line up towards home plate. The Vice President of the United States, Hubert Humphreys, here with us today. And 54,000 rabid folks sitting in the sunshine in Baltimore, waiting the start of the 4th game of the World Series. The The Dodgers go into this game with a scoreless streak. Remember, they have not scored against Baltimore pitching in the last 24 innings. That would be the third inning of the first game when Gilliam walked with the bases loaded. Now, the World Series record for consecutive scoreless innings is 28 by the New York Giants staff against the Philadelphia A's, and you have to go back 60 years for that record, 1905. The Giant pitchers ended the series by pitching 3 shutouts in a row. That was a series record, and they won 4 out of 5 from the A's. The great pitchers for the Giants back in 05 were Christy Mathewson, Joe McGinnity, and Christy Mathewson again. A couple of other notes as far as the Dodgers' inability to pile up any runs or any offensive against Baltimore pitching. The record for the fewest runs by any one team in a World Series is 3 by the Athletics against the Giants in that 05 World Series. The record for the fewest runs by one club in a 4-game series, 4 by the Yankees against the Dodgers in 1963, which brings up the point that the last time one club was able to sweep a World Series from another would be the Los Angeles Dodgers of 1963 when they swept 4 straight from the New York Yankees. There have been 9 sweeps in the series and 2 others which went 5 games and were decided by 4-0 plus a tie. The umpires, John Rice of the American League, will be the plate umpire. We'll get to the other umpires in a moment, but right now, the large crowd standing for our national anthem.
Rendering honors to the flag will be a special detachment of U.S. Marines from Fort Meade, Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Seconds away. And to bring you the play-by-play, the voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates, here's Bob Prince.
Thank you very much, Vince Kelly, and hello again, everybody. Beautiful sunshiny day, as you know by now, and the Dodger lineup is as follows. At shortstop, leading it off, Maury Wills. Batting in the number 2 position, playing center field, Willie Davis. In right field, batting third, Lou Johnson. The left fielder is Tommy Davis, batting in the cleanup spot. Jim Lefevre will play at second base and bat fifth. In the number 6 spot, first baseman Wes Parker. Batting 7th, catching is Johnny Roseboro. And batting 8th, John Kennedy playing at third with Big Don Drysdale. 0-1 in the series underway. The Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Hubert Humphrey, just tossed out the first ball, and the Orioles take the field. set them up for you defensively in a moment. Batting order-wise, Aparicio at short, Snyder in center field, Frank Robinson in right, Brooks Robinson at third, Boog Powell at first base, Kurt Bleffery in left, Dave Johnson will be the second baseman, Andy Etchebarren catching, and on the mound, young McNally, who, as you know, has been told you earlier, appeared in Game 1, pitched 2 1/3 innings, allowing 2 runs on 2 hits, struck out 1 and walked 5. He's a left-hander. Rather significantly, when McNally was pitching and walking all of the Dodger batters in the inning in which he was having all kinds of trouble, the third, in Game 1, on the Dodger message board, they welcomed the visit to Dodger Stadium of the astronauts and made the remark that one of the astronauts was the first man to walk in outer space, and the press box wag came up with the usual remark, McNally must have been pitching to him. This is the 28th year Gillette has sponsored the World Series broadcasts, and the 20th year Gillette has sponsored the World Series on television. There are always humorous quotes and bits that attend the World Series, and one of them, of course, occurred in Dodger Stadium again when somebody asked Frank Robinson how he hit Sandy Koufax, and Frank very quickly replied, right-handed. So those are the things that come about in this great fall classic, and we're set to go now, and McNally with Etchebarren his battery mate. Robinson is at third, Aparicio at short, Johnson at second, Powell at first, Bleffery in left field, Snyder in center, Frank Robinson in right. Preston Gomez coaching for the Dodgers at third, Danny Ozark at first. Plate umpire is John Rice of the American League. McNally goes to switch batting Wills, who's 1 for 10 in the series. Third baseman Brooks Robinson up tight. The outfield is not deep. First pitch is swung on and popped into shallow short. Johnson and Aparicio giving it chase. Coming up for it also Snyder, and it'll be Johnson. Dave Johnson, the second baseman, and that time converging on the ball, Aparicio, Johnson, Robinson, and Snyder. That shows you how shallow the Oriole outfielders were playing to begin with, when they could all get there and any one of them could have caught it. Center fielder Willie Davis in, a left-hand batter, 1 for 12 in the series. The outfielder swung around to the right on him. It's 309 down both lines, 410 straight away. 380 to left center, right center. McNally's ball is bunted foul behind the plate, strike 1. Rounding out this excellent crew of umpires with John Rice behind the plate is Mel Steiner of the National League at first, Cal Drummond of the American League at second, and Bill Jakowski of the National League at third. Nestor Shylock down the left field line of the American League, and Chris Pellicudis in right from the National League. 0-1 to Willie Davis. Fastball hit foul to the left side, out of play. Strike 2. The on-deck batter, right fielder Lou Johnson, whom has been, as told you on occasion, will swing right or left depending on the insertion of Tommy Davis in the lineup. Tommy always plays left field, and Lou then moves from left to right. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out and none on, and Willie Davis steps out. Time called immediately. The Dodgers approach this one knowing full well that, like a dying man needs his breath, there is nothing after tomorrow unless they win today. No balls, 2 strikes. Looped foul to the left, and it's out of play. Etchebarren giving it a long, hard chase. Now that ball came back into the seats about 40 rows. It's always been a source of amazement to many who observe the game of baseball how an outfielder can turn at the crack of a bat and run a ball down, and then fruitlessly chase it back on one that they know is never going to be catchable, except by a fan. Davis, a bouncer to Boog Powell, unassisted put out, 2 away. As been told you now on the pregame get-together, 24 scoreless innings. And should Baltimore put 4 more against the Dodgers here today, they'll tie a record. But we'll worry about about that if and when it approaches. Here is the right fielder, Lou Johnson, 3 for 11 in the series. They play him as a pull hitter. McNally, the left-hander, comes in with a breaking ball at the belt for a called strike, and Lou didn't like it. Tommy Davis, the on-deck batter. There is no win factor here today. 2 down in the top of the first, no score. The pitch, a let-up delivery, hit foul over by the Oriole dugout along third. 0-2, so McNally's out in front. McNally in the first game walked Maury Wills, and he promptly stole second base, but then he got out of the inning. But then Lefevre, right-hand batting at that time, homered. And McNally had his worst troubles right there. Here's the 0-2 pitch. High pop foul. This one's off to the right, may be playable. Etchebarren comes over near the base of the railing, leans in and gets it. So it turns out 3 up and 3 down. And we go now to the bottom half of the first inning, and it is Los Angeles nothing, Baltimore nothing.
Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Follow your heart, see your Plymouth dealer today.
This is Edie Gourmet for your Plymouth dealer. He's out to win you over for 67 with the most tempting furies ever. A new supercar, the Belvedere GTX. Beautiful all-new Valiants. Your Plymouth dealers, all heart. Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Follow your heart, see your Plymouth dealer today.
See the elegant Furies, all new Valiants and sports-bred Belvederes now at your Plymouth dealers. He's got what it takes to win you over. Dodgers now go to the defense. John Kennedy at third, Maury Wills at short, Jim Lefevre at second, Wes Parker at first, Tommy Davis, Willie Davis, Johnson in the outfield, Drysdale and Roseboro the battery. Billy Hunter coaching third, and Gene Woodling at first, and the leadoff batter, Luis Aparicio. The shortstop, 3 for 13 in the series. Has 2 runs batted in the series. Big Don comes in with a fastball, picks up the outside corner, strike called. They're straight away in the outfield to Aparicio. In fact, Johnson and Davis pinch in a little bit on Willie Davis, giving him some of the lines. No score as Baltimore now bats in the bottom of their first. Aparicio, Snyder, and Robinson. The 0-1 from Big Don Drysdale's a let-up punch foul. If you heard me stop talking, it's because I can steal them better than I can stop them with my mouth. That one, like they got the old gunner. Strike 2. Foul came right back. Yes, sir. I wasn't going to try to catch it. No balls, 2 strikes. That's the closest we've had one here in a series. So, 0-2 to Aparicio. Fouled him straight back on a fastball. Drysdale, you will remember, pitched 2 innings for 4 runs and 4 hits in the first game, October the 5th. Nothing in 2 the count. Drysdale comes back with a fastball that's popped up, and Johnny Roseboro flips off the mask in foul territory to the right of home plate, accepts the chance, and there's 1 away. It'll bring up Russ Snyder, the center fielder, who plays there when a right-hander's going. He's 1 for 3 in the series and has 1 run batted in. You recall now, failure of Pittsburgh to defeat the Giants in the final game of 1966 necessitated then the pitching of Koufax in the second game, which then brought about a man by the name of Drysdale in the first game who was not rested. A curveball down inside ball 1. But that's all in the realm of what might have been. Prognosticate as you will. left-hand batting Snyder. The outfield swings just a little right on him, not too much. A gap in left center field, and Kennedy's up tight at third. Fastball, and he bunts it. Might have been hit by his own pitch. He batted the ball on a bunting play out in front of the plate and ran into it on a fair batted ball. The catcher will get the pitch out. So Roseboro gets the put out. Hit by his own fair batted ball or running into it, either way, and the out is made, and Roseboro gets the put out unassisted. 2 down, and the right fielder Frank Robinson in. 1 homer and 2 runs batted in. And it was he who homered against Drysdale in the first inning. So with 2 away and no score, we're in the bottom of the first here in Baltimore. Drysdale's delivery hit high into the air into the shallow left. Tommy Davis drifting over. Coming over by the warning track, 300 some odd feet away to make the catch. It sounded as though Frank Robinson hit that ball out on the end of the bat. 3 up and 3 down at the end of 1. Los Angeles nothing, Baltimore nothing.
A great new filter cigarette is born. Born with the name Camel. New Camel filters.
New Camel filters, the one born rich.
New Camel filters. This is the one born rich. Rich in taste, with that big Camel head start on flavor. Now that great Camel heritage of real taste comes to you in a great new filter cigarette. No other can compare in flavor. No other can compare in quality to new Camel filters. This is the one you'll want to try.
Try Camel filters, the one born rich.
Ben Scully along with Bob Prince from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. No runs, no hits, and no errors at the end of 1 inning for each side. Both starting pitchers doing a lot better than last time out. McNally walked Wills, and he stole second 4 games ago. And, of course, Drysdale gave up 2 home runs in the first inning, the first shot against Baltimore. No score, into the second inning, and back to Bob.
Tommy Davis will lead it off. He's the left fielder batting in the cleanup position. McNally, the left-hander, ready to go. First pitch comes in, fastball, makes him button hook to get out of the way as it was inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Tommy Davis played as a slight pull hitter. Aparicio back near the edge of the outfield grass. Robinson wide of third is rather deep. McNally's next pitch is lined for right center field, running for it fast, Frank Robinson, and he'll make the catch. The risk of sounding as though it's strictly a partisan National League setup, the Dodgers have not been able to find the hole at the right time on line drives.
No, and Frank Robinson got a fine jump on the ball. He was running full tilt just about as soon as it left the bat. A great outfielding play, and he made it look easy.
Jim Lefevre, the second baseman, he's 1 for 10 in the series, a switch batter. Off-speed delivery, down below the knees, ball 1. Beautiful sunshiny day in historic Baltimore. 1 ball, no strike. Let-up is pulled foul, and because of the let-up, he got way around on it. 1 ball, 1 strike. They have some very peculiar book rules and ground rules here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, and we shan't get into them and hope that we shan't have to explain any one of them. They have all sorts of things that could happen in this stadium. And, of course, they're well covered by rules. 1-1. Up under the chin, a little music there. 2 balls and a strike. Little chin music. 2 balls and a strike. Score, 1 out and none on. Here's the pitch. There's a let-up, and he's way outside with it. Ball 3, 3-1. Lefevre now will look down to third to Coach Preston Gomez. The Dodgers, without question, will pull anything in the book in this one. They have to. 3-1 delivery is up high. He walked him. That is the first walk given up by McNally, his 6th in the series, and brings up now Wes Parker. Switch batting first baseman, batting in the number 6 spot, has 3 for 10. It was his double yesterday on the book rule that bounced into the right center seats. That denied him a triple and a Dodger run, as it turns out, for Willie Davis. Then the ensuing batter hit a ball sufficiently deep that Parker would have scored. So they're going to play a little bit around to the left on Parker. McNally checks Lefevre. The pitch is a let-up curveball in there for a strike. Tommy Davis lined a rope into right field, hauled in by Robinson to lead off this, the Dodgers' second, and now Lefevre has walked. There is no score as yet. And Wes Parker, no balls, 1 strike, the batter. Again, McNally checks Lefevre, and the pitch. There's a high chopper hit slowly toward shortstop. Aparicio gets it on for 1. They'll not get Parker. The high bouncing ball, slowly hit, denied the fine inner defenses of Baltimore the chance to make the double play, so the out will go short to second on Lefevre. And no play at all on Parker. That'll bring up catcher John Roseboro, who's 1 for 11 in the series. 2 down now, and the Dodgers' second inning, no score. And the runner, Parker. They play him about straight away. Long high fly ball into right field. Robinson appears to be getting under without any trouble. Gauging up against the sky, makes the catch, but retires the side. So far, the Dodgers in the second, no runs, no hits, no Baltimore errors, and they strand 1, and we go to the bottom of the second. Los Angeles nothing, Baltimore nothing. You know, the World Series marks the end of baseball action for the year, but football is shifting into high gear. And if you'd like first-rate seats for the top games and for less than 50 cents a game, I have a suggestion. Get Motorola rectangular color television. You see, Motorola color television costs as little as 15 cents a viewing hour. Now that's less than 50 cents a game, based on the price of a table model on 3-year contract. You get Motorola solid-state reliability at 17 critical points, numbered controls for easy color tuning, and a big, bright rectangular picture pioneered by Motorola. This year, see football in color and enjoy it more. You'll also get a bigger kick out of your favorite nighttime shows because they're in color too. See your Motorola dealer and discover how you can have color television for as little as 15 cents a viewing hour with Motorola. Now introducing the new flight of color TV. Second inning, this game is scoreless. Neither side has had a hit. And standing in will be third baseman Brooks Robinson, who is 2 for 11. Plate umpire John Rice is asking that something be, a chair be removed to the lower left side of the Dodger dugout because it would be actually in the field of play. Drysdale working now to right-hand batting Robinson. A swing and a miss. He started him off with a changeup. 0-1. Robinson, you'll recall, backed up Frank Robinson's homer against Drysdale in Game 1, which tied a series record. Here's the 0-1. There's a ball hit up the middle, and Brooks Robinson is on with a base hit. Brooks Robinson took a fastball knee high and went right through the middle with it. Now Boog Powell is stepping in. He's 4 for 11 in the series, a left-hand batter. And if you heard what might sound as though he were being booed, that is not true. They're just going Boog and drawing it out, much as they used to do with Ted Kwaszewski in Cincinnati or with Moose Skowron when with the Yankees. Ball tailed away that time outside ball 1. So the first hit of Game 4 goes to Baltimore's Brooks Robinson. strikes. The outfield deep and around to the right. Short lead at first by Brooks. The pitch in there beautifully on the outside corners. That ball moved away from the big fella, 1-1. They used to platoon Brooks a lot in the outfield and first base, but they settled him down to first base as it better suited their plans, and he has been a very fine first baseman for Baltimore. 1 ball, 1 strike. Foul back. Good fastball, and Boog just got a piece of it. 1-2. Drysdale went through the first inning, getting the Orioles out in 1-2-3 fashion and in quick order. Then Brooks Robinson swung and missed a change curve, but laced a fastball up the middle for a single. So he's the runner at first, nobody down, and the batter Boog Powell, a ball and 2-strike count. Drysdale checks at first base, brings it in there, and it's line foul down the left field line, deep into the lower deck, 1-2. When I see Boog Powell up there, I really have a vision of a former huge first baseman by the name of John Mize. Ball, 2 strikes. Drysdale comes in with a fastball that's up high, 2-2. Big Don, of course, would like to get Powell to hit the ball on the ground, and preferably right near somebody so they can get the double play. Ball 2, strike 2. Powell isn't going to set any world speed records in running, but an awful lot of times he just trots. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Drysdale checking for the sign from Roseboro. Characteristic pose, the way he looks in. Now Don on the 2-2 brings a curveball in. He stuck him out swinging. Changed him a little bit off that breaking ball. And Big Don picks up his first strikeout. Now, left fielder Kurt Bleffery, a left-hand batter, will stand in. There is no score, 1 down in the Baltimore second inning. The runner at first, Brooks Robinson. Bleffery, a left-hand batter, 1 for 11 in the series. The outfield over shifting on him. To the right, they gap him in left center, and Tommy Davis gives him about 80 feet of the left field line. Reminding you now, 309 down both lines, 410 straight away with an inner wall involved. Drysdale now to the set position. Check at first and goes over there, and a quick tag by Parker, but no damage as Brooks Robinson dives back in headlong. Stepping out for a moment. They'll always question whether he's out of the batter's box or not. He stands very deep in it. Here's the pitch, and this one is a curveball inside, low, ball 1. Many the umpires will take and erase the chalk lines the moment they come out. It's of lime, and they don't want throwing balls into the dirt, kicking that lime up into their face. It doesn't take them long to eradicate the lines. 1 ball and no strikes. Robinson opening with a single, remaining there on a strikeout to Boog Powell. Again, Drysdale from the belt. Comes in with a fastball, and it's pumped foul to the upper deck off third. First inning went very quickly, 3 up, 3 down, no score there. The Dodgers had just a mile threat going when Lefebvre walked. But he was out on a force play, so actually nothing happened there in the Dodgers second, and they're still looking for their first hit and run. Robinson at first on the single, 1 out, no score in the Baltimore second. 1 ball, 1 strike, and a throw to first, and Brooks is back. Drysdale has a very quick move over to first base. 1-1. Pitch to Bleffery, a swing, and he beats it foul behind the plate. 1-2. Ben said earlier, the weatherman has certainly blessed us with an ideal, beautiful day here in the city of Baltimore, where another jam-packed audience on hand, including the Vice President of the United States, who threw out the first ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Vice President, be it known, however, basically is a Minnesota Twin fan. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch sailed it up high, 2-2. Johnny Roseboro is probably the most quiet of all the catchers, but is one of the most durable of all the catchers, and I have yet to talk to any baseball player that's ever slid into him who didn't say somebody always got hurt, but it was never Roseboro. 2 balls, 2 strikes. High foul coming back out of play, 2-2. There was a time when I thought Roseboro might tragically have been injured when one of his present teammates, Dick Stewart, was batting and hammered a foul ball that came right off the bat and went right in between the face bars of Johnny's mask and struck him between the eyes. Luckily, it did not injure him, and he was able to remain in the game, but it came awfully close to being very injurious. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Drysdale checking. Sends it just low, ball 3. Now we'll watch Brooks Robinson for you. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Robinson, the runner at first. 1 out, no score in the Baltimore second inning. So Don Drysdale has his first 3-2 count in the game. Wills has hollered in behind his glove something to Lefevre, setting themselves up for how they'll cover if they have to. Drysdale checks it first. They're running, and it's inside, ball 4. So Robinson goes to second unmolested, and Blefary draws a walk. And that is the first free ticket issued to Baltimore, and the batter now is Davy Johnson, the youngster who has been a surprising hitting sensation in the series thus far, 4 for 11. A right-hand batter. So Brooks Robinson at second, and Kurt Blefary at first. Blefary doesn't carry the high season average, but if you get him out, you get him out when he's hitting your strike. There's a chopper hit down toward Lefevre. Turns, gets it on to Wills for 1. On to first base, a double play. A brilliant execution by Maury Wills as Blefary really put a roadblock on him to get him out of there, but he got the throw away anyhow. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. At the end of 2 full innings of play, Los Angeles nothing and Baltimore nothing. Say, you know, it's great to be here with the winter, Ben.
Well, which one, Bob? Baltimore or Los Angeles?
Well, right now, I mean Gillette Foamy.
Oh, I might have known.
Yeah, well, you should have. The big winner in the Shave Cream League. Foamy's instant lather sets up your beard for your blade like no other shave cream you ever tried. Nobody makes a lather like Foamy.
Oh, you mean so moist, so rich, and so creamy.
Right you are. You get together with the winner every time you shave with Foamy.
Well, nobody makes a lather like Gillette.
By George, I think you've got it.
I think I'll get it. Foamy by Gillette.
And while you're at it, bring home the Right Guard. Talk about popularity. Gillette Right Guard Power Spray Deodorant is a 6-to-1 favorite with men. 6-to-1.
Big favorite with families, too. Right Guard is always the perfect personal deodorant for everybody because nothing touches you but the spray itself.
Just 2 seconds gives you 24-hour protection. Lasts far longer with regular use, too.
Yes, Gillette Right Guard. So effective, it's the world's best-selling deodorant. Don't be without it. Scoreless at the end of 2 with 1 base hit going for Brooks Robinson. So as we go to the third for more play, let's get right back to Bob.
All right, Vin, and standing in now, that was a sparkling double play because it was a chopper hit by young Johnson, who can motor a little bit getting down the line. But he turned and made a nice throw to Maury Wills, and then Mr. Blefary came running right in, and he wasn't going to do much in the way of a slide. Kennedy takes a low delivery from McNally. Many times, you better, if you don't want to be dehorned with Wills throwing, you had better be able to tunnel somewhere or burrow under a sack, because he came across that bag and he let it go for that great double play. 1 ball to no strikes to Kennedy, playing at third, leading it off for the Dodgers. Long high fly to left, and it's got plenty of distance, but it's going to hook foul into the upper deck. Baltimore fans a little apprehensive, but from our vantage point here, there was no question but what it would be a foul ball. Right through that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. McNally on the 1-2 to Kennedy. Curveball looped out off the right side and dropping back for it, Johnson. Second baseman Johnson getting that little looper. Dodgers have now gone through 26 scoreless innings. And are fast approaching a record they would like to reverse immediately and run away from. Have not scored in the last 26 innings since the 3rd inning of the first game. Series record for consecutive scoreless innings is 28 by the New York Giants staff against the Philadelphia A's in 1905. Don Drysdale takes ball 1. Don's a very fine hitting pitcher. Used many times by manager Walt Alston as a pinch batter. McNally works to him. Hits it foul right up over our head, 1-1. There is no quit in Drysdale. I don't think he'd understand it if you put it in front of him. One ball, 1 strike. 1 out and none on in the 3rd, no score. McNally's curveball hit off the left side. Aparicio waits for it, digs it out of his tummy, throws across, and there are 2 away. 2 down, and now Maury Wills, who popped to second base in the first inning, will stand in. Dodger 3rd inning, scoreless ball game. Dodgers looking for their first hit. The Orioles already have 1. Brooks Robinson, a single up the middle. They come in very shallow in the outfield and pinch Robinson and Blefary in on Snyder. They'll give him all of both lines. There was a strike. It was called. As an example, if you're just tuning in the first inning, when he popped up into shallow center, really just in behind second, Aparicio, Johnson, Snyder, and Robinson all could have caught the ball, showing you how shallow they play Maury. No balls, 1 strike, and there's a chopper down toward third. It's backhanded by Brooks Robinson, going foul. 0-2. Baltimore does not deploy, at least in this park, the shift in the outfield on Wills they did in games 1 and 2, which is referred to a lot as the Richie Ashburn shift, where they move the left fielder right on the line. But of course he's up there now right-handed. If he gets a chance left-handed, they might swing all the way around. A ball outside, 1 and 2. So as a left-hand batter, they figure him to go almost always to left and never to pull. And as a right-hand batter, they defense him in such a way that they're straight away in all departments. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 pitch, popped high into the air, and looks like Echeverrin has a play. It's right in behind home plate, spins around, the mask is off, he's there. 27 scoreless innings. 3 up and 3 down. And we go now to the bottom of the 3rd. Los Angeles, nothing. Baltimore, nothing.
This is Joe Garagiola. You know, my work gets me around the country a lot, and wherever I travel, someone always says to me, Joe, I hear you on the radio talking about customer care at Chrysler Plymouth dealers. What does customer care really mean? Well, I always tell them that customer care means just what it says. Chrysler Plymouth dealers care about their customers as well as their cars. There are a lot of dealers who know cars, but very few of them know people and cars. And this is where Chrysler Plymouth dealers are different. They know how important a friendly greeting can be, how most people don't like to wait forever and a day for service, and that most people like to be treated like people. They treat you as a friend, not as a stranger. And they see to it that your car is serviced as quickly as possible, with certified service no less. And when you walk out, they don't forget important things like thank you. And that's what we mean by customer care. It's a philosophy of doing business that makes all the sense in the world. And exclusive at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. I wonder why everybody doesn't do business this way.
Bottom of the third, no score in the ball game. Baltimore with one hit. Andy Etchebarren, the eighth man in the lineup, coming up, so let's hop right back to Bob.
Etchebarren 1 for 9 in the series. And a right-hand batter. Better than average speed for a catcher. Normally, because of the fact they always have to crouch down, their hamstrings are foreshortened and they're unable to run. Of course, he's not very old. He'll get there if he stays long enough. A bunt down first base, and it's going to go foul. Don Drysdale was over quickly to cover as Roseboro came out, but the ball beginning to roll foul, he let it go. Strike one. It's only a matter of time before a catcher will turn from a pacer to a dray horse. And that's only natural. Drysdale trying to come back. In the game, the Dodgers must win. And they feel that if he can get by Baltimore today, that Mr. Koufax will return the series to Los Angeles. Here's the 0-1. Etchebarren checked off it. A ball, 1-1. Score. Etchebarren leading it off in the Baltimore third. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. He looked like he took a little off it. 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Straight away in the outfield, Andy. Takes that curveball. He tried to save it, but I think it was in the strike zone according to the plate umpire, John Rice. So Don Drysdale has his second strikeout. That'll bring up Dave McNally. Don had only 1 strikeout. Of course, only worked 2 innings in the first game. McNally gets a nice hand. Shallowing up in the outfield to him. He bats unlike he throws. He's up there right-handed. Drysdale comes in and he's low and outside. A ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Tommy Davison left, Willie Davison center, Lou Johnson in right. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Into the dirt, low, ball 2. It's the bottom of the third. There's 1 away. There is no score. Orioles in with 1 hit. Dodgers still looking for theirs. So 2 balls, no strikes. Drysdale working now to young McNally. Sends it on the inside corner for a called strike, and it's 2-1. Should Drysdale and the Dodgers be victorious today? 2 balls, a strike. 1 hopper, 2 hopper. Back to Don on the mound. He throws on to Parker, 2-1. And then Koufax on Monday able to do it. That would, of course, be tomorrow. Tuesday would be the travel day, and the 6th and 7th games, if necessary, the 7th, would be at Dodger Stadium. Tomorrow's airtime will be at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Airtime actually at 12:45. The game itself at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings. Pitch is outside. A ball. 1-0. Drysdale to the windup, and the pitch right through the middle. He took it for a strike, 1-1. California fans, of course, listening or viewing the games, naturally see these in the morning. But then when the Eastern broadcasters come out, 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a long fly ball down the right field line. Lou Johnson hustling over on the warning track right into the corner, and he makes a fair ball catch and then bounces into the protective padding, and that retires the side on Aparicio. So it's 3 up and 3 down. And at the end of 3 full innings of play, Los Angeles nothing, Baltimore nothing.
A great new cigarette is born. A new filter cigarette whose very name stands for flavor. New Camel Filters.
New Camel Filters, the one born rich.
New Camel Filters. This is the one born rich. Rich in taste, with that big Camel head start on flavor. Now that great Camel heritage of real taste comes to you in a great new filter cigarette. No other can compare in flavor and quality to new Camel Filters. This is the one you'll want to try.
Try Camel Filters, the one born rich.
We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
This is WGY, WGFM, Schenectady.
If you've grown up around here, chances are you take Saratoga Vichy for granted. Well, don't. What you're being so blasé about happens to be one of the most extraordinary natural products in all the world. People send for it from all over, both for its curious taste and for that remarkably long-lived carbonation the Vichy people are always talking about. Saratoga Vichy, the only mixer we know of that people built a city just to be near.
Lee Davis leads off the Dodger fourth. This ball game is scoreless. McNally, the left-hander, to the left-hand Davis, and he takes it low, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Outfield around to the right a little bit on Davis. Third baseman Brooks Robinson up. McNally's delivery slides in and over for a called strike, and it's 1-1. Lou Johnson, the on-deck batter. 1 ball, 1 strike to Davis. Now the 1-1 delivery, a swing and a miss, 1-2. Crossfired a little bit that time. Saying a little while ago about the Dodger fans and all listening to the ball games, they'll hear them in the mornings. When the Eastern broadcasters come out and play the Dodgers at night, then the Eastern fans get a delightful treat. They hear their game starting at 11 at night and go to bed in the morning. Davis strikes out swinging. So McNally gets his first strikeout. And the batter now will be Lou Johnson, who fouled out to catcher Andy Etchebarren. Dodgers are 1 inning away, if they don't score here, from tying a record of the most innings without scoring in a World Series. 28. A record they'd dearly love to forget all about. McNally works. Strike swinging and an off-speed pitch. He took a little off his breaking ball that time. Got Lou well out in front of it. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out, none on. In the fourth, no score. Hard rap into left field. And coming up for it is Kurt Blefary. Johnson rounds first in a sudden hurry, scrambles to get back in there, dives in headlong, and just does make it. He must have gone up about 15 feet. If Blefary had bobbled that ball, he'd have been on his way to second. But instead, as he started to come back in, it looks as though he lost his footing momentarily, had to dive back in, and now is taking all the infield of Baltimore right off his clothing. And that relay throw was bang, bang, and he got back in safely. So the Dodgers get their first hit in Game 4. Now, McNally started him off with a change curveball and got him to swing. Came back with his Hummer, and Lou changed speeds on it and sent it into left field like a rocket. Here's Tommy Davis, who lined into right field in the second inning for an out. The outfield straight away. McNally checks on Lou Johnson. The pitch. Swing and a foul coming straight back. Strike one. A bit of a gap between Snyder, the center fielder, playing straight out, and Blefary, who is shading over toward the left field line. No balls, one strike. Johnson well over toward second with Boog Powell holding on the runner, Lou Johnson. There's a ball bounced slowly toward third and then going foul. Johnson's all the way around to third practically. He's a man in a hurry. Said it took him long enough to get here. He can't see any reason why he shouldn't keep moving them out. No balls and two strikes now as he cuts diagonally across the diamond. There is no score. We're in the top half of the fourth inning. Willie Davis opened the frame with a strikeout, and then Lou Johnson singled sharply to left for the Dodgers' first hit. You might have heard a round of applause a moment ago. The young National League bat boy is a youngster who earlier in his life was very severely burned. His hands were burned off him, and he has hooks. But he is wonderful. He had his picture taken with the vice president, and he can do all sorts of things. Played golf, though he has not allowed the handicap of losing his hands to deter him in any way. And, of course, he's a great favorite with Baltimore fans. No balls, two strikes here to Tommy Davis. Lou Johnson off first, just by about two strides. Chopper hit toward short. Aparicio gets a bad hop, but gets it on to Johnson for one to first base. Double play. Aparicio to Johnson to Powell, and a double play. And Tommy Davis is arguing to no avail. No runs, a hit, no errors, and nobody left. At the end of 3 1/2 innings, Los Angeles nothing, Baltimore nothing.
We asked the nastiest man in the world to ask some nasty questions about our beer. Go ahead, Nasty.
What is all this 8 brewery jazz?
We're trying to get Carling Black Label beer into people's hands while it's still fresh and lively.
Oh, don't con me. Beer's supposed to be old.
Well, that depends on where it gets old. In the aging tanks, good, but in the can or in the bottle, not good. There, well, beer slowly, surely acquires an unbeer-like taste. Brewmasters call this taste bready. People call it flat.
So what do? Drink all your beer before it leaves the brewery?
We brought our breweries closer to the people. This way, Black Label spends less time in warehouses and trucks.
Hey, my brother drives a truck. You got something against trucks?
We love trucks. We love trains. We love boats. We love planes. We just want our beer to spend less time in them. It'll taste better.
Say, when did you guys stop beating your wives?
They are announcing here in the press box now in the radio TV area that the Baltimore pitching staff has just tied a World Series pitching record of 28 scoreless innings in World Series play, and we'll fill you in more later on. Right now, there's a high pop hit up by Russ Snyder. Lefevre on the second base side shades his eyes, and Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter. Long drive to left field. Way back. Kiss it goodbye. Home run. Drysdale has just tied a record that he didn't want to tie for the most home runs surrendered in series competition, 8. And that was the 8th that he's given up. Curveball hit down toward third. Bad hop. Kennedy comes up, digs it out of his stomach, throws across, and he's got him in there 2 away. So Frank Robinson gives Baltimore a lead of 1-0 on his second series homer, which is the 8th surrendered by Don Drysdale. 5 other pitchers have done that. Burley Grimes, Charlie Root, Allie Reynolds, Don Newcomb, and Whitey Ford, and now Don Drysdale. Here's Boog Powell, who struck out in the second inning. Moved it inside the ball. The ball that Frank Robinson hit appeared to be a waist-high fastball right out over the heart of the plate, and he got all of the wood he wanted on that one and then some. He really tore it apart way down the left field line. Ball 2. If it had a tendency to go foul, it never had a chance. Two balls and no strikes. 2 down, 1-0 Baltimore in the bottom of the 4th. There's Powell, a long fly, deep center, way back, and Davis leaps, and a sensational catch by Willie Davis. Doctor, what a catch by Willie Davis. He took a home run away. Well, the inning showed 1 run on a homer by Robinson, 1 hit, a spectacular catch, and nobody left. And at the end of 4, Baltimore 1, Los Angeles 0. Here he is again with another story. Our favorite umpire, Nick Crone.
One night in Pittsburgh, a certain third baseman known as the 8th man, on account of he's not a very dainty performer with the glove, lets a ground ball bounce off his chin. It raises such a lump that the next day he cannot shave. I hear of this and offer him my new Gillette Techmatic razor, which he graciously declines. Beat it, he says. Go feed your guide dog. 8th man, I reply, the Gillette Techmatic razor just out has the lightest touch in shaving. 6 super stainless steel edges are coiled and sealed inside a cartridge, like film in a camera. Each edge lasts about a week. Then, flip a lever and a new edge locks in place. The Gillette Techmatic ends blade handling forever. Well, the 8th man tries it. He gets a perfect shave from the Gillette Techmatic and does not even cut his bump. Ump, he says to me, you are a humanitarian. 8th man, I reply, say that on the field and you're out of the game.
Jim Lefevre stands in, and McNally's in with a strike. Lefevre walked in the second inning and was forced. 1-0 now into the top of the 5th, Baltimore leading. There's a drive out into center field for a solid base hit off a hanging curveball. So the Dodgers have their second hit. Vin Scully, they're still buzzing about that sensational catch by Willie Davis.
I think one nice thing about it is it's the same man. It's the same man who was called a Little League outfielder by some folks for dropping 2 fly balls. And from one human being to another, I'm sure glad he got off the hook.
I am too. As we said before, nobody likes to wear horns except 4-footed animals, and I'm not sure they like them either. Here now is Wes Parker. Ball outside, 1-0. Not as familiar with the Dodger ball club as Ben would be. Of course, they're getting into a part of their lineup where they might not be able to run and hit or hit and run quite as much. But we'll watch Lefebvre nonetheless, because the Dodgers have to pull all stops to get back into this World Series. Trailing 0-1 here in the top of the fifth. McNally, 1 ball, no strikes, sends his curve low, ball 2. It appeared he hung his curve ball to Lefebvre, and he really ripped it up the middle. And Phil Regan is now up, so that this proves that Walter Alston is ready to do anything at this point or any point. 2 balls and no strikes. They'll have to get down into the lineup a little bit before they would bat for Drysdale. 2 balls and no strikes. The look at first to Lefebvre by McNally, and the pitch. And this one slides in there at the knees for a called strike, 1-1. Of course, manager Alston is saying, and he wants to be ready in the event he has to hit for Don Drysdale. But by the time you get to Don, it's conceivable the Dodgers could be tied or ahead. And that again would change the thinking of manager Alston. But the big thing in this game is be ready. 2 balls, a strike. Bounce toward third. Brooks Robinson off to the left, a fine play. On to Johnson for 1. Double play. What a double play. I can certainly see now why they say that Brooks Robinson is one of the greatest third basemen in baseball. He just went out to the left like a cat, stumbled as he came up with the ball, made a perfect throw to Johnson chest high so they could hit that bag, dance away, and come over to first for the double play, and he got it. Roseboro takes a called strike. That is the second double play now for Baltimore, whose team led in defense statistics this year in the American League. 1-0 Baltimore, 2 down in the top half of the fifth. Strike 2 is called to Roseboro. A soft curveball in and over. 0-2. If McNally gets out of this inning, the Baltimore pitching staff will establish a new record of scoreless innings in World Series play, 29. He is 1 out away from that. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Tremendous home run by Frank Robinson, his second in the series. Deep down the left field line. And then a great catch. Strike 3 is called, and a new record is in the books. No runs, a hit, no errors, and nobody left. At the end of 4 1/2 innings, Baltimore 1, the Dodgers nothing.
Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Follow your heart, see your Plymouth dealer today.
Hi, Edie Gourmet for your Plymouth dealer, who's out to win you over with a longer, more luxurious 67 Fury. And the day you look at Fury is the day you'll give in to Plymouth. See your Plymouth dealer now. He's all heart. Plymouth is out to win you over this year. Follow your heart, see your Plymouth dealer today.
Luxurious new Furies, 25 models strong, are on display now. But be prepared. Plymouth Fury could win you over today. Chrysler also brings you the Bob Hope Chrysler Theater on NBC television every Wednesday night at 9, 10 p.m. Central Time. Baltimore leading here, 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. The Dodgers, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, as we now move into the halfway part of this very thrilling World Series game, Game 4, the game the Dodgers must win. No one knows it better than the man who'll bring you all the thrilling action, the veteran voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Vin Scully.
Thank you, Bob, and hi, everybody. Kurt Blefary to lead it off as Drysdale now goes to work in the bottom of the 5th inning, and the breaking ball in on the hands, ball 1. Blefary walked in the 2nd inning. The Orioles a run on 2 hits, the home run by Frank Robinson. The Dodgers no runs, 2 hits. Blefary, left-hand hitting left fielder, waiting. Drysdale back with a change over for a strike. Kurt likes the fastball, and the Dodgers throughout the series have thrown him breaking stuff and changes. Drysdale has done both in the count, 1-1. Don comes back to the plate, fastball, swung out and missed, strike 2. The infield swung around towards first and the outfield to right. And for Drysdale, this could be his last inning of work. He is due to bat second when the Dodgers hit in the 6th inning. 1-0 Baltimore in the bottom of the 5th. Drysdale reading Roseboro. John setting a target. Drysdale has walked 1 through 4 innings. Fastball is down and away. Ball 2. 2-2. Drysdale has struck out 2. Dave McNally has struck out 2, walked 1, allowed 2 singles. And, of course, the defensive play by Willie Davis, goaltending to take a home run away from Johnny Powell. 2-2 pitch on the way. Curveball and a high fly ball to right field. It's down the line. Lefevre out and Johnson in. And Lou on the line makes the catch in fair ground. So Kurt Blefary, a fly ball to Lou Johnson in the right field corner, 1 away. And the batter will be Dave Johnson. Dave Johnson, 4 for 12 in the series, hit into a double play in the 2nd inning. Right-hand hitting second baseman who has been involved in some double plays for the Birds. Baltimore with 2 double plays today, 3 in the last 2 days. Johnson takes a strike, and Baltimore's turned in 4 double plays in the series. 0-1, the count to Dave Johnson, 1 out on the 5th, 1-0 Baltimore. Drysdale back to the plate. Fastball pulled foul outside of third to Billy Hunter. 0-2. Billy, who was once sold to the St. Louis Browns by the Dodgers for a reported $75,000. He still has pretty good hands. 0-2. Andy Etchebarren on deck. At no time in the series have the Dodgers been out in front. They have been behind since the national anthem almost of the first game. The strike shoot pitch is a curveball hit in the air to left center. Tommy Davis coming in a hurry. He's there to make the catch. Well, maybe not quite. And the batter will be Andy Etchebarren.
410 feet was caught by a man 10 rows from the rear of the stand.
Andy Etchebarren, right-hand hitting catcher, struck out in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 1. If you are interested in ballistics on Frank Robinson's home run, a fan 10 rows from the top caught it. The pitch to Etchebarren, breaking ball down and away, ball 1, 1-0. When the Dodgers hit in the 6th, they are due to send up John Kennedy, Don Drysdale, and Maury Wills. Drysdale back to work, and the right-hander's 1-0 pitch, fastball on the outside corner for a strike. He is a much better pitcher than he was in the first game of the series, but he has still been bitten by the home run ball, and McNally has been superb through 5 innings. 1-1 pitch, fastball fouled away off to the right. He didn't get around on it. 1-2.
The height of the wire fence is 7 feet.
1-2 the count to Andy Etchebarren from nearby Los Angeles in La Fuente. Right-hand hitting catcher. Drysdale reading Roseboro. Now Don's 1-2 pitch on the way. Fastball, a half swing, strike 3 called. So Baltimore out in order in the 5th. And the score at the end of 5 innings of play. Baltimore 1 and the Dodgers nothing.
A great new filter cigarette is born. Born with the name Camel. New Camel filters.
New Camel filters, the one born rich.
New Camel filters. This is the one born rich. Rich in taste. With that big Camel head start on flavor. Now that great Camel heritage of real taste comes to you in a great new filter cigarette. No other can compare in flavor. No other can compare in quality to new Camel filters. This is the one you'll want to try.
Try Camel filters, the one
Pause 30 seconds for station identification.
This is WGY, WGFM, Schenectady.
Your radio has not gone cuckoo. That's merely the sound of Saratoga Vichy and its long-lasting fizz. The story behind that fizz is even stranger than the sound. You see, nature carbonates Saratoga Vichy, giving it a perky little fizz with incredible staying power. It keeps drinks fresh far longer than club soda or any of the imitation Vichy's. Saratoga, the authentic Vichy in the yellow label.
On Drysdale in the on-deck circle, and then Maury Wills. McNally's first pitch is punched down the right field line, but slicing as she goes in the corner, foul, and back into the lower deck. 0-1. Phil Regan loosening up in the Dodger bullpen. And since he and everybody else in the ballpark can see Drysdale in the on-deck circle, you wonder whether Phil is just throwing on his own. We'll see. Kennedy hit a towering foul in the upper deck in left field in the third inning, but then popped out. 0-1 to John. He's 0 for 4 in the series. Dave McNally, left-hander into his windup, and the strike one pitch. Breaking ball, swung on and missed 0-2. I think that was his slip pitch. McNally with a three-quarter move, fastball, curveball, and a good slip pitch. He has walked one man through 5 innings. In direct contrast to the 5 he walked in 2 1/3 at Dodger Stadium. Dave ready in the strike 2 pitch, fastball outside just to show it to Kennedy, 1-2. McNally, 13-game winner during the regular season. He lost 6. 1-2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball, line to left for a base hit. McNally making a bad pitch, and he knew it. He kicked it to dirt. He got the ball up on Kennedy, and John hung it into left field. So the Dodgers get the leadoff man on for the second time in a row as Lefebvre opened in the 5th inning with a single, and of course trailing 1-0. That is a favorite weapon of theirs. Now that Drysdale comes up to the plate, Phil Regan stops throwing in the bullpen. Don is a good hitter. However, the Birds expect him to bunt. Brooks Robinson up inside the bag at third. Powell to ready to push off the bag at first. The curve is a strike, 0-1. With both Brooks Robinson and Johnny Powell charging the plate, Drysdale will not have much room to drop the bunt, and he backs out and has another look at Preston Gomez. Baltimore a run on 2 hits. The Dodgers no runs on 3 hits. We're in the 6th inning, nobody out. The pitch to Drysdale. He flicks at it and misses for a strike. Now he's in a hole 0-2. So Don leaning on his bat, hand on his left hip, staring down at Preston Gomez, and we'll see whether Walter Alston wants him to try and bunt 0-2. If you make a mistake on Drysdale, particularly if you get the pitch up on him above the belt, he is liable to long ball you. And of course, McNally set, looks over at first, back he comes, high and away. Ball 1, 1-2. Baltimore figuring that with 2 strikes, Drysdale will not bunt. So Brooks Robinson back to a normal depth. Powell continues to hold Kennedy. John is not a particular base-stealing threat. McNally, left foot on the rubber, has a look at Etchebarren. The outfield straight away on Drysdale. McNally's 1-2 pitch outside, and he took a little off at that time and almost aimed it. And the count 2-2. Crowd oohs and ahs. John Rice of the American League calling balls and strikes. We're in the 6th inning. Baltimore 1 on the wings of Frank Robinson's home run, his 2nd of the series and his 51st of the year, if you want to count the 49 he hit during the regular season. 2-2 pitch on the way. Fastball just low, and that's the one he wanted. McNally angry. He thought he had it at the knees, but missed with it, and it's 3-2. Now we'll see if the Dodgers play run and hit. Kennedy, the runner, and Drysdale both checking with Gomez. McNally visibly upset on that 2-2 pitch. He tried to sneak the fastball over at the knees and missed. Here's a very big pitch now. We'll see what develops. Kennedy at first, held on by Powell. McNally set, checking. Kennedy goes. The pitch is swung on and missed. Etchebarren juggles, throws. They get him. Etchebarren on the strike 3 juggled the ball momentarily, was still able to throw a strike to Dave Johnson to nab the sliding Kennedy. A big play. K2-4 if you're keeping score, and just like that, 2 out in the 6th inning. The Dodgers now have been unable to get a man to second base. And here is Maury Wills, who popped up and fouled out, 0 for 2. McNally's fastball is hit to Brooks Robinson on one hop, and Brooks throws him out. For the Dodgers in the 6th inning, no runs, 1 hit, nobody left. And the score at the end of 5.5 innings, Baltimore 1, and the Dodgers nothing.
Insurance, tax statement, employee tag. I think that does it. Now, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Repeat after you what?
The Carling philosophy.
The Carling what?
Philosophy. Time, the maker of beer.
Time, the maker of beer.
Is also the great destroyer.
Is also the great destroyer.
Shipped from city to city, stashed away in warehouses.
Stashed from city to city, shipped away in warehouses.
Even a great beer like ours.
Even a great beer like yours.
Ours.
Ours.
Would slowly, surely lose the taste that made it great.
Would slowly, surely lose the taste that made it great.
Good. This is why we brew Black Label.
Good. This is why you brew Black Label.
In 8 breweries around the country.
In 8 breweries around the country.
You're hired. Congratulations.
You're hired. Congratulations.
With Ben Scully, Bob Prince speaking to you from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, where the Orioles have 1 run on 2 hits, no errors. The Dodgers, no runs, 3 hits, and no errors. They have now gone through 30 consecutive innings without a score, and the Baltimore defense have pulled off 3 straight double plays, and they have sparkled behind McNally, who leads it off, and here's Ben.
All right, Bob. Don Drysdale working on his opposing pitcher, Dave McNally. Right-hand batter, fouls a fastball off to the right, 0-1. The crowd giving McNally a well-deserved round of applause. Dave has been right on the plate all day. Walked just 1 man, and what balls the Dodgers have hit with men on base have been on the ground. 0-1 the count to Dave. Hit back to Drysdale in the 3rd inning. Outfield shades him a little bit towards right field. The strike 1 pitch on the way. Overhand curve for a strike. In the count, 0-2. 1 run, 2 hits for Baltimore. No runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. Sparkling play on both sides. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way. Curve ball over, strike 3 called. So McNally goes down on 3 for Don Drysdale, his 4th strikeout. And the leadoff man, Luis Aparicio. Aparicio, right-hand hitting shortstop, fouled out to Johnny Roseboro in the 1st inning. Hit a high twisting fly ball down the right field line in the 3rd, and Lou Johnson went right against the boards to make the catch. So Aparicio is 0 for 2. He is 3 for 15 in the series. Drysdale ready, starts him off with a fastball. It's lined to center for a base hit. Willie Davis plays it on a hop and gets it back in. That is hit number 3 for Baltimore. It is interesting to know the Orioles have gotten 6 hits in 2 games. They won one 1-0. They're leading the other 1-0. Russ Snyder tried to bunt and actually hit the ball twice with his bat in the 1st inning and then popped up in the 4th. So the center fielder is 0 for 2 and 1 for 5. Drysdale set at the belt, turns and throws to first, driving Aparicio back. There has been only one stolen base in the series, that by Maury Wills. We'll see now whether Aparicio might be at the front end of a play as Drysdale is up on top and set. The pitch to Snyder, a strike. 0-1 to count. In the Dodger bullpen, Ron Peranoski and Phil Regan begin to loosen up. Peranoski, the left-hander. On deck, Frank Robinson. 1 out, 6th inning, 1-0 Baltimore. Drysdale set at the belt, delivers, and it's away. 1-1. Light breeze blowing from the right field corner, slanting over to left. Not really hard enough to affect a fly ball. Kennedy is up a couple of steps, about even with the bag at third. The outfield about straight away, although Lou Johnson gives the left-hand hitting Snyder most of the right field corner. Drysdale's 1-1 pitch. Aparicio goes. A pitch out. A throw down to Wills. They've got him hung up. Wills to Parker. He's tagged out. So Aparicio going on a pitch out, and it went 2-6-3 from Roseboro to Wills to Parker. 6-3. So we still have only one stolen base in the series. To try and upset Roseboro, Snyder waved at the ball, and he's charged with a strike, so the count is 1-2. Two out, 6th inning, 1-0 Baltimore. When the Dodgers hit in the 7th, if you are not keeping score, Willie Davis, Lou Johnson, and Tommy Davis. Drysdale into his windup, 1-2 pitch, fastball hit back to the box. Don has it, just lobs to Parker, and that'll do it. In the 6th inning for Baltimore, no runs a hit, nobody left, and at the end of 6, Baltimore 1, the Dodgers nothing.
With drug hair, you'll get nowhere, so use Heads Up Handsome. Girls don't care for plastered hair, so choose Heads Up Handsome. 2-4 bottle, what it's got'll make you Heads Up Handsome.
Tube or bottle, Gillette Heads Up grooms like water, only better. Won't dry up, won't plaster down. So men, take the pledge. Use Heads Up.
Seventh inning, 1-0 in favor of Baltimore. The Birds with a run on 3 hits, no errors. The Dodgers, no runs, 3 hits, and no errors. For the Dodgers, Willie Davis, Lou Johnson, and Tommy Davis. Dave McNally comes to the plate. A drag bunt attempt is missed by Willie in the count 0-1. Willie Davis grounded to Johnny Powell and struck out and made the defensive play on Powell's bid for a home run in the 4th inning. Willie is 1 for 14 in the series. Fouls it away. 0-2. McNally standing back of the rubber now looks into Etchebarren. The outfield fanned out on Willie. The strike 2 pitch on the way. Hit over the head of Aparicio into left center, but right there is Blefary to make the catch for the out. Little fly ball, 1 out. He was jammed. That'll bring up Lou Johnson. Lou Johnson fouled out and singled. He's 1 for 2. But was cut down as Tommy Davis hit into the double play in the 4th. The Birds have come up with 3 double plays today. 4 double plays in the 2 games played here, and 5 double plays in the series. And they lead 1-0 on 3 hits here in the 7th. Johnson a bunt in the air, foul. Etchebarren gloves it. Quickly, 2 out in the 7th inning. Baltimore 1, the Dodgers nothing, and Tommy Davis coming up. And for the Dodgers, they have now set a record, and it is just getting longer and longer. They have failed to score in the last 30 2/3 innings. Tommy Davis lined out to right, grounded into a double play, 0 for 2. McNally into his windup and delivers, and the pitch down at Tommy's right foot, ball 1. right-hand hitting left fielder. McNally's 1-0 pitch on the way, swung on and missed, 1-1. Tommy Davis was the National League's batting champion in 1962 and in 1963, and of course suffered the broken leg that kept him out of last year's festivities. 1-1 to Tommy Davis as McNally checks in with Etchebarren. Dave comes back 1-1, fastball, and he jammed him and he popped it up. Johnny Powell looks over at Dave Johnson. It's the second baseman for the Cats. And the Dodgers roll over quietly in the 7th inning. And at the end of 6.5 innings of play, it remains Baltimore 1, the Dodgers nothing.
This is Joe Garagiola. Rules. Sometimes you're for them and sometimes you're against them. But the world of sport would not exist without them. The rule book of a sport isn't just a set of laws made to be broken, but they're the rules of common courtesy. And if they aren't observed, the game would be chaos. And it's true in most everything we do, like driving. Traffic rules are based on common courtesy, and it's even true in business. The best businesses are run by the rules of courtesy, like your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. He calls his rule book customer care. What's that mean? Well, it means when you bring your car in for service, he's nice to you. Every rule of courtesy is observed. Why? Well, because he wants you to come back. But he doesn't base his business on bedside manner alone. He's got certified service, factory-trained mechanics using genuine Mopar Chrysler parts, and fix only what needs to be fixed. So if you're looking for the best service in the book, see the guys who play by the rules with customer care. Your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Well, the Vice President of the United States, as the guest too of the Baltimore management, and himself an avowed American League fan and basically a Minnesota Twin fan, is standing up taking the stretch as they're ready to move it out. It's the Orioles. 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. The Dodgers 0-3-0 into the bottom of the 7th and Vin Scully.
All right, Bob. It'll be Frank Robinson who put the Birds on the boards with his home run in the 4th inning, and that's the story. 1-0 Baltimore. Great pitching duel between Don Drysdale and Dave McNally. The fastball outside, ball 1, 1-0. Frank Robinson fly deep to left and then hit one out. He'll be followed by Brooks Robinson and then Johnny Powell. Roseboro wigwagging signs out to the mound, and Drysdale comes back with a breaking ball that is low. As Robinson started to swing, he held up, and John Rice said no, he did not commit himself, and the count 2-0. The Dodgers are suddenly running out of time. They have 6 outs left to them. Drysdale is due to bat 5th when the Dodgers hit in the 8th inning. Don into his windup, and the 2-0 pitch on the way. Soft curve fouled away. Robinson way out in front of it, hit it off the end of the stick upstairs to the right. 2-1. If you are throwing Frank Robinson a fastball, you throw it one of 2 places, either way inside on the knuckles or so far outside that he can't get it. But Drysdale got a fastball over the heart of the plate, and he hit it out in the 4th inning. 2-1 pitch, breaking ball, swung on and missed, and the bat goes to the bat rag. 2-2. So Drysdale has given Frank Robinson nothing but breaking stuff here in the 7th inning. Now, plate umpire John Rice saying something to Frank Robinson. Robbie does not use any tape on the handle of the bat to get a better grip, though he just picks up some dirt. A run on 3 hits for Baltimore, no runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 7th inning. It has been quite a game. The Orioles have left 1 man on base, and so have the Dodgers. Curveball got him swinging, so all breaking stuff disposes of Frank Robinson. 1 away. 5 strikeouts for Don Drysdale. And here is Brooks Robinson getting a well-deserved round of applause for the great play he made on Wes Parker's ground ball in the 5th inning. Loosening up just in case in the Baltimore bullpen, right-hander Stu Miller. Drysdale's fastball is low, ball 1. Brooks Robinson single to center in the 2nd inning, grounded to 3rd in the 4th, 1 for 2. Drysdale comes back to him 1-0. Fastball hit to the left of Wills. Morey over, grabs it at the belt and flips to Parker for the out. 2 away. Here is Johnny Powell. Struck out in the second inning and hit the towering smash to dead center. It is 4-10 here at Memorial Stadium. Willie Davis went to the fence, was all set to coil and leap, and the breeze blew it a good 5 or 6 feet to his right. So then Willie had to go over to his right and then leap, and was able to spear it. Drysdale ready in the pitch to Powell. Change up, hit off the fists, up the middle. So Powell singles to center. Willie Davis gets it back in a hurry. So with 2 out, a single by Johnny Powell, and the batter, the left-hand hitting left fielder, Kurt Blefary. For Drysdale, he's allowed 4 hits. Blefary has walked and flied to right. Quite a game. Each side with 1 man left on base. Drysdale turns on the rubber, up on top now and set at the belt. They're not going to hold Powell. The fastball is low, ball 1. The understatement of the year would be to say the Dodgers do not expect Powell to try to steal. 1-0 the count. Drysdale again set. And the 1-0 pitch to Blefary. Fastball low again, ball 2. 2-0. On deck, the right-hand hitting second baseman Dave Johnson. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for Baltimore, 1 left. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Dodgers, 1 left. Drysdale took off his cap, gazed out toward center field for a moment. Now back to the Wars. 2-0, the count to Kurt Blefary. Infield swung way around to first with Lefebvre playing at deep second base. Drysdale's 2-0 pitch, fastball, over for a strike, 2-1. So in the inning, all breaking stuff to Frank Robinson, all fastballs to Kurt Blefary. Parker going steady with the foul line, about 3 feet back of the bag at first. Drysdale to Blefary, and it's swung on and missed. Strike 2. 2-2. In the 8th inning, the Dodgers will have Jim Lefebvre, Wes Parker, and Johnny Roseboro. Drysdale peers into Roseboro, Blefary waiting. Now Don is up on top, of backward glance at Powell, and the 2-2 pitch, fastball fouled away. The only run of the ball game in the 4th inning as Frank Robinson hit a Don Drysdale fastball way back into the left field seats. His 2nd home run of the series, both against Drysdale. And for Frank Robinson, he's hit 51 this year. 2-2 pitch to Blefary. Curveball hit in the air to right field. It's playable. Lou Johnson is there, waiting and waiting, and makes the catch. So in the 7th for Baltimore, no runs, 1 hit, a man left. And the score at the end of 7, Baltimore 1, the Dodgers nothing.
Wow, 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 Winston tastes good. Like your cigarette should. When I changed to Winston, I changed for good. 'Cause I got good taste, like I knew I would. Winston tastes good, like it should. When you change to Winston, change for good, 'cause Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Winston tastes good like your cigarette should. Make your cigarette Winston.
Prior to yesterday, there had been 368 World Series games, and only 2 decided 1-0 by home runs. Now there might be 2 more back-to-back yesterday and today. And the fewest hits is 22 in a series, and the Dodgers right now only have 15. So there are all kinds of reversible records going on here, Ben.
All right, Bob, it'll be Jimmy Lefevre to lead it off, followed by Wes Parker and then Johnny Roseboro. 8th inning, 1-0 Baltimore. Change-up, swung on and missed. Lefevre out in front of it. Switch hitting second baseman, batting right-handed. He has walked and singled. McNally comes back to the plate 0-1 and misses outside as he appeared to turn that over a little bit, almost like a screwball. 1-1. Dave McNally has limited the Dodgers to 3 hits, all singles, and has not allowed a man to get to second base through 7 innings. The 1-1 pitch, whacked foul outside of third. 1 hop, it kangaroos up into the lower deck. 1-2. Lefevre in the series has 2 hits in 11 at-bats. For the Dodgers, Lou Johnson has the most hits. Johnson has 4. Here's the 1-2 pitch, taken low and inside, ball 2, 2-2. For Baltimore, a defensive measure here in the 8th inning. Paul Blair now in center field. Kurt Blefary comes out, and Russ Snyder moves over to left. So if you're keeping score, put Paul Blair in Kurt Blefary's spot. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Jim Lefevre. Fastball high. He started to go after it and held up. 3-2. The Dodgers, trailing since the 4th, have gotten a leadoff man on base in the 5th inning and again in the 6th. However, each time, the following man hit into or missed into a double play, as it turned out with Drysdale. 3-2 pitch, fastball, hit in the air to center field. Back goes Blair, away back to the track, to the fence, leaps up and gloves it. Paul Blair, who was just put into the game by Hank Bauer in center field, made the perfect play as he went straight to the fence, turned, timed his leap, and hauled it in. It was not quite as spectacular as Willie Davis' catch, but now in the waning moments of the ball game, it appears even bigger. It's still 1-0 Baltimore, and Parker fouls it away. So a fine play by Paul Blair in center field. Where Powell's ball was really kissed, that was not one of Lefevre's better bolts, even though he hit it that far. The strike 1 pitch on the way to Parker. Swung on and missed, and that was the slip pitch, and Wes was way out in front of it. 0-2. And Wes, like many of the Dodgers now, appearing to be pressing as he chased one high and away. Parker robbed of a hit by Brooks Robinson. Next one is low, ball 1. The Dodgers, of course, now have only 5 outs left to them, with 1 out here in the 8th. McNally stands back of the rubber, looks in to get his sign. Left-hander ready, and the 1-2 pitch on the way. High chopper down to third baseman Robinson. Brooks gloves it and throws him out. So 2 out in the 8th inning. Baltimore 1, the Dodgers 0, and the left-hand hitting catcher Johnny Roseboro coming up to the plate. Roseboro flied to right and struck out. It's been a long series for John. He's 1 for 13. Willie Davis has had the longest series, 1 for 15. Pitch hit fouled on the right field line, 0-1. 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors for Baltimore. The run, a home run by Frank Robinson in the 4th inning. No runs, 3 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. We're in the 8th, 2 out. McNally checking with Etchebarren. Now Dave delivers fastball away. 1-1. Roseboro, basically a low ball hitter. But John with bad hands ever since the last 2 months of the season and a painfully sore right wrist. Blair shades him slightly towards right center. 1-1 pitch on the way. A little high up around the eyes. Ball 2. 2-1. Paid attendance today, 54,458. So we have 3 more here. Actually, 13 more than we had yesterday. 2-1, the count to Johnny Roseboro. McNally comes back to the plate. Fastball grounded down to Dave Johnson, the second baseman up with it cleanly and throws him out. The Dodgers are out in order again, 8 in a row retired by McNally, and the score at the end of 7.5 innings of play, Baltimore 1 and the Dodgers nothing.
You never know how huge this country is until you try to ship beer across it. It is so huge. Your beer is in a huge warehouse. You load these huge trucks right away. Huge traffic jams. And then the roads. You should see the roads. They are so long. Sooner or later, your beer starts to lose the taste that made it great. The Carling Black Label people couldn't stand still for that. The orders came down. Buy a brewery here. Build a brewery there. Rebuild a brewery somewhere else. Think of it. 8 great breweries brewing 1 great beer. Carling Black Label. It sort of takes your breath away.
Big D has only one thing he can look forward to, and it's to stop Baltimore here in the 9th inning, and then go right on and hope that somehow or other his team can scramble to get him back in the game with a tie or a run to go. It's 1-0 and a fantastic pitching performance. Ben?
All right, Bob, bottom of the 8th inning, 1-0 Baltimore. Dave Johnson, Andy Etchebarren, and pitcher Dave McNally. Drysdale ready, starts him with a fastball away, ball 1. Dave Johnson grounded into a double play and flied to left. Right-hand hitting second baseman 0 for 2. A run on 4 hits for Baltimore. No runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. Drysdale's fastball just outside and low, ball 2. The Dodgers today cannot be accused of leaving men on base. They have left 1 man on base in 8 innings. Baltimore leaving 2. The 2-0 pitch on the way. Fastball over for a strike. In the count, 2-1. 2-1, the count to Dave Johnson. Drysdale into his windup, and the 2-1 pitch on the way. Fastball is low. Ball 3, 3-1. Johnson in the series is 4 for 13. Dave waiting, Drysdale ready, and the 3-1 pitch. Fastball hit off the end of the bat. A fly ball to shallow right. Lou Johnson coming in a hurry and makes the catch. So Dave Johnson, a fly ball to shallow right, 1 away. Drysdale has made 1 bad pitch. 1 pitch he'd like to get back, but there's no second chance. That was the fastball to Frank Robinson out over the plate, and Robbie hit it deep into the left field seats, and that's the story. That, along with the tremendous pitching performance of left-hander Dave McNally. Here's Andy Etchebarren. He struck out twice today. Drysdale comes to him with a curve, bunted in the air. Parker gloves it for the out. In fair ground, says first base umpire Mel Steiner. And now an ovation building for Baltimore left-hander Dave McNally. McNally, right-hand batter. Drysdale's fastball is swung on and missed 0-1. Dave is hit back to the box and struck out. 2 out, bottom of the 8th. Baltimore 1, the Dodgers nothing. In the 9th, the Dodgers are due to send up Kennedy, Drysdale, and Wills. Fastball is low. Ball 1. 1-1. With McNally going, you think of possible right-handed pinch hitters. The Dodgers have Dick Stewart, Al Ferrara, Jeff Torborg, Nate Oliver, and switch hitter Jim Gilliam. Slow curve is popped up back as short. Wills goes out, turns now, and makes the catch. So Baltimore out in order in the 8th inning, and the score at the end of 8. Baltimore 1, and the Dodgers nothing. And now here's our favorite umpire, Nick Crone, with another anecdote.
A particular first baseman in our league has what we call an early foot. He is also over-friendly. One day he greets me with, "Say, ump, how may I ask is your dear mother?" "My mother is fine," I answer. "And she told me to tell you to keep your foot on the bag." He does not faze. He tries again with, "They say you discovered a terrific new razor." "They say right," I reply. "It is just on the market, the Gillette Techmatic. It ends blade handling forever. 6 super stainless steel shaving edges are coiled and sealed inside a cartridge, like film in a camera. Each edge lasts about a week. Flip a lever and a new edge locks in place. The Gillette Techmatic is very sharp against the beard, but very, very light against the skin. Try it." Well, next road trip he greets me with, "Hey, ump, the Gillette Techmatic is the lightest touch in shaving. You were right." "Early foot," I rejoined, "I am never wrong."
Well, as it goes now, the Dodgers are down to their last inhalation, and they're going to have to do it as they send Big Dick Stewart up there, and they'll come on with Ferrara in behind him. It's into the top half of the 9th inning. The Dodgers, no runs, 3 hits, no errors. The Orioles 1-4-0. And a fellow who has hit a lot of home runs against Baltimore and in this ballpark when he played in the American League, Dick Stewart, is going to come up and bat in place of Kennedy, and then with Al Ferrara on deck. It's do or die for the Dodgers. There's no question about it into the top half of the 9th, and here's Ben Scully.
All right, Bob. Dick Stewart, who hit quite a few home runs here at Memorial Stadium in his American League days with the Boston Red Sox, is now asked to go up there and try and rip one for the National League. The Stewart right-hand hitter. McNally's pitch high and inside. Ball 1, 1-0. So the Dodgers come up with the bench. Dick Stewart followed by Al Ferrara and then Maury Wills. Strange that Dick Stewart, who was cut adrift by the New York Mets, is now up here trying to decide the future of the Dodgers in the 9th inning of the World Series. Fastball is swung on and missed. 1-1. And of course, here in Baltimore, for every strike and for every out, the cheers will get louder and louder. And for the Dodgers, time grows shorter now. 3 outs remaining. 1-0 Baltimore in the 9th. 1-1 pitch, fastball foul back. In on the hands, 1-2. For the Dodgers, this is their 13th World Series, and there are people who will remember that when this story is completed. The Dodger record, in their previous 12 World Series, they won 4 and lost 8. All 4 championships under the reins of manager Walter Alston. 1-2, the count to Dick Stewart. Of course, here in Baltimore on this Sunday afternoon, they can't wait to holler, "The king is dead, long live the king," because the Dodgers, champions of last year, have 3 outs left to them. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Stewart. In there, strike 3 call. strikeouts for Dave McNally. One away in the ninth inning. Here is Al Ferrara, right-hand hitting outfielder. Pinch hitting for Don Drysdale. McNally's curve is line to center, base hit. So Ferrara keeps the Dodgers afloat with a single to center. And the batter will be Maury Wills. 4 hits for the Dodgers. Nate Oliver will now run for Al Ferrara. Nate Oliver running for Ferrara. One run, 4 hits, no errors for Baltimore. No runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. And Maury Wills at the plate. He is 0 for 3 today. He has 1 hit in 13 at-bats in the series. Johnny Powell holding the bag on Nate Oliver. And Dave McNally looks into Etchebarren to get his sign. The left-hander ready. And the pitch to Wills. Fastball swung on and missed. Dropped by Etchebarren. Oliver holding at first. 0-1. The only run, the home run by Frank Robinson in the 4th inning. And now it looms as the tallest mountain in the baseball world as Dave McNally tries to make it stand up. McNally set at the belt, looks at Oliver, checks again, and the strike 1 pitch. Fastball low, 1-1. Dave, of course, trying to make Wills keep the ball on the ground. Brooks Robinson doing a little housekeeping down there at third base. Powell holding the bag on Oliver. The outfield relatively shallow, with Paul Blair particularly so in center. Blair, of course, is up a couple of steps to handle a base hit and try and prevent Oliver from going to third. The 1-1 pitch to Wills. Outside and again dropped by Etchebarren. Ball 2. So Andy's dropped 2 in a row. The dangerous habit for a catcher. 2-1 to count. Stu Miller, Mo Drabowski in the Baltimore bullpen, Phil Regan in the Dodger bullpen, and McNally and Wills head-to-head in the 9th. 2-1 pitch to Maury. Fastball high, ball 3. And now Luis Aparicio goes to the mound to counsel McNally. So Aparicio talking to Dave. McNally worked 2 1/3 innings in the first game and has pitched a tremendous 8 innings today. No Dodger through 8 innings has been able to get to second base. 3-1, the count to Wills, who backs out and picks up a handful of dirt. 9th inning, 1 out, and Wills also had a peek at Preston Gomez. So did base runner Oliver. And McNally set, checking. Checks, Oliver does not go, and the pitch is ball 4. And so for the first time today, the Dodgers have a runner at second. It is Nate Oliver, and a runner at first, Maury Wills. For Dave McNally, his second walk. The other one came to Jimmy Lefevre back in the 2nd inning. Willie Davis, who is the hungriest of all Dodger hitters, is the batter. Willie today grounded out, struck out, flied to left. He has 1 hit in 15 at-bats. Willie's base hit was a single to left field in the first game against Mo Drabowski. Left-hand hitting center fielder. McNally in some trouble with 1 out. The left-hander set and delivers, and it's very high. A nice save by Etchebarren. Ball 1. The birds begin to stir a bit in their nest. Hank Bauer and his pitching coach, Harry Brackeen, have a little chat, while Drabowski and Miller heat up back of the left field fence. Nate Oliver at second, Maury Wills at first. 1 out. 1-0 Baltimore in the 9th. McNally looks into Etchebarren, who wigwags a sign out to him. Left-hander's 1-0 pitch. Willie takes a strike. Breaking ball. One thing in McNally's favor. Hard pressed in the ninth inning. He was still behind on the batter. He came in with a breaking ball. 1-1 to count. The out in the inning, Dick Stewart struck out as a pinch hitter for Kennedy. Ferrara hitting for Drysdale singled, and Wills has walked. 1-1 to Willie Davis. McNally is set, checking, checks again, now works the plate. Slow curve, hit in the air to Frank Robinson in right field. He goes back and makes the catch, and the run is home. And the Dodgers have 1 out left. Lou Johnson has 4 hits in the series. He is 4 for 14. He singled to left field in the 4th inning. And as Johnson comes up to the plate, Harry Brackeen goes walking out to the mound to make sure, number one, McNally remembers how to pitch to him, and also to make sure he has enough left. Whatever Brackeen asks McNally, he nods yes. Johnson today fouled out in the 1st inning, singled to left field in the 4th, and fouled out trying to bunt in the 7th. All right, Brackeen goes trotting back to the Baltimore dugout. 1-0 Baltimore in the 9th inning. The Dodgers have not scored a run in 32 2/3 scoreless consecutive innings. So you talk about a hungry ball club. They are down to the last bite. McNally straddling the rubber. Etchebarren settles low in a crouch. Nate Oliver away from second. Maury Wills from first, and the sun comes out. McNally is ready and delivers, and it's swung on and missed. Breaking ball down and away. 0-1. Johnny Rice, the American League umpire, cleans off home plate. On deck, Tom Davis. McNally again looks in to get a sign from Andy Etchebarren. 0-1 to count to Lou Johnson. The left-hander ready, checks the runners, the strike one pitch. Breaking ball, swung on and missed. Strike 2. Johnson, with the count, no balls and 2 strikes, is standing in the way of the Baltimore Orioles being champions of the world. McNally is set and ready. And the strike 2 pitch swung on a fly ball to right center. It's playable. Paul Blair is waiting and waiting. He's got it. With the highlights of the 4th game of the World Series right after this message.
Take charge. Move up to Chrysler 67. Take charge with looks that demand attention, and get it. Take charge with V8s that range from big to biggest, and the biggest brakes in the price class, too. Chrysler's unique front seat, called the 3-in-1. 2 armchairs 1 minute, 5-foot wide seat the next. Take charge. Move up to Chrysler. It's easy. 4 full-size Chryslers are now priced just a few dollars a month more than the most popular smaller cars comparably equipped. See your Chrysler dealer today.
The totals on the ball game for Baltimore: 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors. They left 2 men on base. For the Dodgers, no runs, 4 hits, and no errors. They left 3 men on base. The Dodgers shut out again, wind up the series going 33 consecutive scoreless innings. The winning pitcher, Dave McNally, who could go only 2 1/3 in the first game, and McNally comes back to go all the way. Right now, pandemonium and joy in the Baltimore dressing room, and let's go down there and go with Chuck Thompson.
One thing after the other, and it'll sound something like this: ain't the beer cold. The Orioles are the world's champions, and they have come into their clubhouse and now having a meeting back on the corner with their manager, Hank Bauer. And let's get the first man we can get up here right now, Oriole third baseman Brooks Robinson. There cannot possibly be a happier moment. Brooks.
You're right, Chuck. I waited a long time for this, since 1955 when I signed, and it's just great knowing you're the #1 team in the world in 1966. And I'm real happy to be on this club, and we thought we were going to win when we started this thing, and we just got pretty good pitching, and these kids, they pitch like hell, and I'm just happy about it.
Didn't they, though, Brooks? And you fellas played perfect defensive baseball. You took advantage of every opportunity given to you. It was a great win for the Orioles in the American League.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations,
right,
Brooks Robinson. We'll try to pick off a few more of them as they get up here, and we'd also like to get the commissioner of baseball, Commissioner Eckert, if he can come up here in just a moment. Paulie, come on up here if you can for a second, please. Here's the young man who had the distinction of making the final out on the ball game, Paul Blair. He won yesterday's ball game with a home run. And, Paul, they have kidded you all year long and called you Motor Mouth.
They won't let this down. I'm not going to let them get over. Beautiful thrill. I can't talk too good right now.
When the ball was in the air coming down to you, was it bouncing a little bit, Paul?
No, it wasn't bouncing. I saw it all the way. I just wish it'd hurry up and get here.
And this is a prize trophy that nobody will take from Paul
Never
Blair.
get this ball.
Paul,
this is mine.
Congratulations. A great win for you and the Orioles.
Thank you.
A wonderful job. A job well done. Here's the young man who did it, Dave McNally, who pitched the shutout. Dave, in the 9th inning, well, first of all, let me get your breath a little bit. In the 9th inning, I was a little worried as I watched. I thought maybe Hank Bauer was on his way out. Any thoughts like that cross your mind?
No, when 2 men got on, I thought there might be a chance. I knew left-hander was coming up. Willie Davis was coming up, and I thought he'd leave me in for him. I knew if I got him out, I would get a crack at Lou Johnson. Beautiful defense, wasn't it?
What pitch was the best one for you today, Dave?
I think I had both pretty good pitches, and that's what it takes for me to win. I have to have 2 good pitches, one to help the other one.
The curveball and the fastball?
Curveball and fastball. When I had to get somebody out, I went mostly to my curveball.
Dave, the Oriole infield played brilliantly behind you today.
Everybody played brilliant. Ball Blair jumped on the fence, caught that ball, and every time somebody got on, they made a good play and got double play.
Thank you very much, Dave McNally. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, Chuck.
Let's get the other end right up here. Frank, come on over here. Here's the man who's done it, Frank. I don't know whether you've had a chance to collect your thoughts enough to express yourself, but just how does it feel?
There's no words to express it, Chuck. You know, you're just floating around here now, and if you say great, that really doesn't tell your true feelings, you know. Right. This thing just never happens. It only happens once in a lifetime, and I'm glad I was in the right place at the right time.
Well, Frank, you come on to have the greatest. Have you ever had a greater year?
No.
Well, here's your home run coming up right now on the screen. We're taking a look at it. And there wasn't any doubt in your mind about it being out.
Not when I hit it, no, sir.
Well, Frank Robinson, you've won a Triple Crown, and I think that baseball will agree with me that you'll become the first player in the history of the game to be the most valuable player in both the American and the National League.
Keep my fingers crossed, Jeff.
Tell me, Frank, how do you feel about Baltimore?
Great. We went out to win it for the city, Chuck, and this is a great team. Let me say, this is a great pleasure playing with these guys. They believe in themselves, and they went out and proved it. I think this really proves it, and I'd just like to say it was a great bunch of guys, and it was a real pleasure playing this year with these fellas.
Frank Robinson, congratulations again, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Have a nice, easy, cool sort of a winter.
Thank you.
And we'll be back here at the Oriole Clubhouse in just a moment.
I've just run out.
You've just run out?
I'm out of cigarettes.
Well, try one of mine.
Try one of yours?
Sure. Try one of mine. Have a Salem. Salem is the menthol cigarette that refreshes your taste
for you. Salem is the menthol cigarette all of America's turning to. When you buy a menthol cigarette, don't take anything but the best. Salem is the menthol cigarette, the one brand that outsells all the rest. Try one of mine. Turn to Salem, for a taste that's springtime fresh.
Well, the happy fellow right up here with me is the manager of the Orioles, Hank Bauer, and I don't know whether he's the happiest or whether American League President Joe Cronin is, but first of all, Hank, you've been in this, you've had this experience as a player, now as a manager. I don't know whether you can compare the two or not, but I think people would like to hear what you have to say.
I think this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me in baseball. I did play on 7 pennant winners, but never as a manager like I was this year. We got good young kids, and let me say this, everybody says we didn't have pitching. We had a better pitching than they did.
Yeah, I think the record books will show that for many years to come.
And we had a bunch of kids, too, Chuck, and they came through 100%.
Hank, and you did a 100% job yourself. Everybody in baseball recognizes that fact. You deserve a great deal of credit, and I think it's a wonderful day. And Joe Cronin, how does the American League feel about a 4-game season?
American League congratulates Hank Bauer. He's done a wonderful job. They stepped out in the American League, and they knocked all the clubs off. We thought we were going to have a real good race this year, but old Hank stepped out, and he really showed the rest of the league, and I think he's proven it to all the baseball world and sweeping the World Series. We're proud of you, Hank.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Hank, I don't want to dwell on a negative subject at all, but did you at any time think about going to McNally in the 9th inning?
Yes, I did. I was a little afraid of Johnson, and Cat went out and asked him how he felt, and said he was all right, and we went to breaking balls with Johnson. I think if he would have got on base, I'd have brought in Stu Miller to pitch to Tommy Davis.
Hank Bauer, manager of the world champion Baltimore Orioles. Congratulations, Hank. It's been a great privilege being with you. And right now, that's about the story from down here in the Winners Clubhouse. The world champion, Russ Snyder. Congratulations. Over here is Boog Powell. Come on in here, Boog. We got the lead right now. We got to turn things back to Kurt Gowdy up in the announce booth.
Now we'll continue with more World Series highlights in just a moment.
We're in the home of a man with a most unusual hobby. Mr. Wilvers, you collect
beer cans.
Beer cans. Tell us about them.
Well, here's what we call a first day can. Picked it up in Atlanta the first day the Carling Black Label Brewery opened up there.
And this one?
Priceless, another Black Label can from their Phoenix Brewery. The ring tab is on the bottom instead of the top.
I see. A sort of a pop bottom can.
Here, Black Label can from their Baltimore Brewery. Look, brewed and filled in Baltimore. L instead of R, you see. Mistake, very rare.
Oh, yes.
Here's a match block of 6 from Carling's Tacoma Brewery. Beautiful, isn't it?
It looks like a 6-pack to me.
Match block of Tacoma. The Schumann offered me $90 for these.
I noticed, Mr. Wilvers, your whole collection seems to be Carling Black Label cans.
We collectors are only human. After all, I do drink all this beer.
And what does Mrs. Wilvers think about your collection?
She won't dust them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll tell you very quickly this was a very abbreviated series, and a lot of surprises took place, and there isn't any question about that. First game, 6 2/3 shutout pitching of Mo Dabrowski, struck out 11. The Orioles winning 5-2. In the second ball game, a 20-year-older shut him out 6-0. The youngest pitcher ever to pitch a shutout in a World Series. Willie Davis committed 3 errors in 1 inning. That's a record. The Dodgers had 6 in 1 game. That tied a record. In the third game, a 21-year-older by the name of Bunker went out and won a ball game, and Paul Blair homered. That became then the third game in the history of the World Series ever to be won by a home run. Stengel did it in 23, Heinrich in 49, now Blair in yesterday's game, and they came right back today on back-to-backers when Frank Robinson hit a home run, and thus 4 games, 2 back-to-back, have been won by a score of 1-0 in all of the World Series games ever played by virtue of a home run. Another record established, the Dodgers, the fewest hits by a club in the series. The record was 22. 22. The Dodgers have erased that one off the books now, as they had 10-13, a total all day of 17 others of the series, so they eclipsed the old mark of 22 being the fewest hits. Lots of tremendous thrills and great plays, and certainly they'll be talking a long, long time about this World Series, where, by the way, they only used one relief pitcher, the Orioles did, and never one time called on a pinch hitter. 28 Dodgers going down on strikeouts against a team that was supposed to have inferior pitching, but did not. So this World Series is all wrapped up, and it was tremendous. I'll say that this broadcast was authorized under broadcast rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Certainly has, too, if I may take a moment to been a great joy to work alongside our producer Len Dillon of NBC and our WBL engineer Bert Bader, to Jimmy Simpson, who has been so invaluable on all of the stats and the records and everything said, along with Alan Roth and Kurt Gowdy, Chuck Thompson, and of course my running mate here, Vin Scully, the veteran voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers. To give you the score of this one, the Baltimore Birds made sure they weren't going back to Los Angeles, and they won it 1-0. So they then extended the Dodgers scoreless streak to 33, and that is another record. Baltimore wins this one, 1 run, 4 hits, no errors. The Dodgers 0-4-0. 2 sensational catches, one by Willie Davis on a ball hit by Boog Powell in the 4th that they'll talk about a long time. Otherwise, they would have had a 2-0 lead. Then they came right back and repaid the compliment, and Blair, whose homer won it yesterday, turns around and saved a home run off the bat of Lefevre as he leaped a good 2 to 3 feet higher than the fence, 7 feet tall at the 410 mark, and hauled in what would have been the tying blast off the bat of Lefevre. So 3 double plays in a row, marvelous pitching by McNally, a whale of a World Series, even though you are a Dodger fan. So that'll wrap up the 4th and final game of the 1966 World Series.
It has been brought to you by Chrysler Corporation, makers of Chrysler Plymouth. Gillette, makers of new heads-up hair grooming for men. Salem menthol cigarettes. You'll find Salem refreshes your taste. And by Carling Black Label. Why not enjoy one right now?
The final score once again in the 4th and final game of the World Series here in Memorial Stadium, Baltimore, was 1-0 Baltimore. And now speaking for Vin Scully, this is Bob Prince saying thanks very much for being with us. This has been a sports presentation of NBC News.
This is WGY and WGFM Schenectady.